puertos, Skomish, Kumantomi, Chesiam, which one hot, the other, the Thomas, Okumil. Just like to raise my hands up to each and every one of our elders, our chiefs, and our people of the Squamish Nation, and taking greater for a safe journey for each and every one of you here this evening. Because I continue like to support all the programs within our nation. We know that we have many people that have the education, that need, also have needs with housing, education, and anything else. And with the help that each and every one of you receive, that it continues on. Because it's pretty hard when we look at the money and the situation that is, we say we're in deficit, that we do our best to look after the department heads and they come to council table and we discuss as we continue on all the money that we need for all the programs. That way we won't be over budget in any way. So I'd just really like to thank each and every one of you for coming here tonight once again. We'll see you.
See you. Okay, good. So your question this evening is coming down from education. Your question for you is, how would you make education an easier process for funding for post-secondary and trades?
Years ago when, nothing against Nate, what my boss today, Member Jacob, but we had people with the skills of writing grants through all the businesses outside of our communities. And she had 3 or 4 people at the time. The top of told was Jackie Gonzalez. And she had them applying for all this money. I'm not too sure that Jesse, that you have the skills too to do all the applications for all the grants. So that's what I would really suggest for education, to look at all the people with the skills to do some grant applications. And there's a couple of members that came to council. They had a 6-year term to finish their degree, and we only funded them for 4 years. So we're going to have to try to find some money to resource ourselves, or once again for the grants, to get those people to do their 5th and 6th year to get their degrees in the jobs that they have. And there's one of them that came to the table, and they would have been a really asset for the Squamish Nation if they did have those funding for the extra 2 years. So I'd really like to thank Jesse Smith, Sealtonat for the job, and everybody in education that they do for all the members' education, especially when they're in the nursery school, 1 month. We do the Squamish language translations into the books that the rhymes are in, and that's a great start for our children to get a better feeling of who they are, and I think that'll be a good asset for them to go further in life and education. So I just thank you once again. We'll see you.
We'll see you after the meeting. Stay safe. Officers following.
She talked
and Scott. So just another small piece of accountability on behalf of another candidate. On behalf of Richard Baker, sends his regrets due to the flu, that he asks for you to share that he will be up here. He's asking you to share to each and everyone in the valley that he will be up here this weekend and he will be going door to door. So he is sick right now, and that's why he's not here this evening.
Hans Guaptanoya, she talked to Queen Snoss, the whole shoulder mill. It's good to see each and every one of you. My name is Sitoktin Chris Lewis. I come from the Lewis and Joseph families. I was born and raised in Capilano, raised by William Dolores Lewis. My mother is Brenda Lewis. My father is David Joseph. And it's been a pleasure serving each and every one of you for for the last 4 years. It's been a pleasure to listen, to learn from our elders, from our youth, from our members at large about what your hopes and dreams are. And in Squamish Valley, they're a little different from down in the city. You face different issues up here. Issues around flood protection, Cheek Eye and other reserves. Issues around infrastructure. Issues around how are you going to get your children to post-secondary school and training when there's nowhere else to live down in the city and they have nowhere to go, so they have to stay here. There's a lot of other issues in Squamish Valley that we need to keep in mind at chief and council level. That the issues up here just are a little different, so that we have to kind of keep that in mind when we're making those big decisions at the council chambers. So I want to commend you all for teaching me. I want to commend the elders for coming to the council and teaching us about what the issues are and the issues that you face. And I also want to thank the youth for allowing us to come to their classrooms and tell them a little bit about what we do and their hopes and dreams. So with your blessings, I pledge myself to listen and continue to learn from each and every one of you for the next 4 years.
Scott, Opted. So the question for you this evening is coming from governance category. So your question this evening is, what do you think about our governance? What changes do you see?
Thank you for the question. I really find that we're at a moment in time in terms of our governance structures. I really learned this through the land code process, where we're talking about our governance structures, and a lot of our community members came and asked that we need to strengthen our governance before we go down the road of getting rid of the Indian Act and doing all of these types of things. So my pledge in terms of our governance is that we need to define the roles and responsibilities of leadership and how those parameters fit in. We need to develop our own constitution. It's a law that will govern everything, and it'll push the Indian Act out of the way, but we need to have that community driven. We need the people to stand up and say, this is what we need, and this is what we see going into the future. We also need to separate business and politics. We need to structure an economic development corporation to ensure that our businesses can operate at the speed of business and our politics can operate at the speed of politics. What happens right now is we conflict. That politics and business get in the way of one another, and it's holding us up as a nation in terms of how we succeed in the future. Also, we need to have some sort of financial policies in place so that we can spend our money more efficiently, and that we can tag some dollars if we're going to do a big project, that we have those dollars in place. We have those contingency funds in place to replace our assets like this great house. This great house is getting older. We have to start planning on how we're going to pave our roads, how we're going to protect our communities, and also how we're going to put new pipes and infrastructure into our communities. Those all come through financial planning and financial policies. So that's my question.
Thank you very much. So just a small piece for each and everyone that's here this evening in attendance. I would like to make an accountability piece to each and every one of you that are here this evening, that when you see a question come out of the bag, and then you see perhaps myself or Jesse discussing and looking at the question before it's asked, it's because we want to make sure that there's no maliciousness. We want to make sure that the questions are safe, as well as the atmosphere that we have created here this evening for each and every one of you. So just wanted to make sure that you know.
Good evening, respected elders, chiefs, your dear family from the Squamish Nation. I thank all of you for being here tonight. My ancestral name is Coffleton. I am one of the hereditary Sioux of our nation. I see quite a few here tonight. So I do thank you all for being here. I would like to first express my gratitude to all the previous councils of our people. For it's through their dedication and hard work that we are standing here today, the building of such great beauty. So tonight, I really want to honor our people. I've been an elected leader in our community for 32 years. I've seen many evolutions come with our young leadership, what was spoken about earlier, the new ideas. We all need new ideas, but we need to close some of the old ones. That's part of my platform, the governance, education, finance, and making a lot more money.
So your question this evening is coming from the housing category. And your question this evening is, do you know if there is a procedure to take a CP lot from an existing owner, and should it be allowed?
Do I know the process to take a CP lot?
I'll read the question to you again. So it's coming from the housing category, and the question is as written. Do you know if there is a procedure to take a CP lot from an existing owner, and should it be allowed?
A certificate of possession is issued by the federal government, the Department of Indian Affairs. Any council has no authority to override the federal government, so it's a simple answer. We do not have that power. No council in this country has that power to take away a certificate of possession. So that's the answer.
We'll see you on Appleton.